All right, guys, today is May the 4th, not just any Monday, it's Star Wars Day. You can tell it's Monday because I'm wearing a tie. This isn't just any tie, it's a Star Wars tie. So, hope you guys are excited about that. Also, to throw into the festivities, my pointer today is actually going to be a little tiny lightsaber. Trying to keep it thematic for you guys. I hope you appreciate the effort. So, going on with May the 4th today, I will go through all of our important things, and I hope you guys had a great weekend. So, I'm joined here today by Minnie Mouse. She's going to help me take you guys through this. So, let's get started. So, reminder today is Monday, which means we have new learning opportunities this week for IXL. So, take a look at those new things that myself, Ms. Sommerfeld, posted for IXL. Those will be in the math and the reading section. So take a look at those. Those are the new ones for math and reading. And I will have a review for you as well as far as the math part goes. I'll give you guys some tips there. There'll be links that you can click on to help you with different parts if you're not sure. Some from me, some from other people. So just take a look at those. Hope to see you guys on Thursday at 10 o'clock for our Google Hangout. I had a lot of fun seeing you guys last week, so we'll do that again this Thursday at 10. Head on up for a free lunch and breakfast up at high school. Today's Monday. Should be a nice hot lunch for you. So head on up there and take a look at those. Please let me know if you have any questions. I love to hear from you guys. So if you guys have any questions at all, please let me know, and I'll be happy to help you out or just hear from you. And stay safe and stay home. Taking a look at those different things that we have this week, take a look at Prodigy. Do a few minutes of that today, as well as the new IXL things for math. Same with IXL for reading, and the new reading AR stuff. So take a look at both of those. Social studies. Check out the video that I post. I think you guys will get a kick out of that. Should be something fun for this week. So take a look at that. And we have FIAD, music, art, guidance, all of those. Just check those. Those will be updated today. So take a chance to look at those different things that Mr. Newkirch and Mr. Buckley, Mr. Warner, and Ms. Lesner post for you. So take a look at those in the specialist section of Dojo. Like I said, I will have some resources for you to help you with any of these that you're looking at in math. So I've got two from number sense, whether it's identifying the value, names, place value. So remember starting at the decimal, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions. And then to the right of the decimal, there is no once, it's just tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Prime and composite, everything that isn't prime is composite. Primes are numbers with two factors. Everything is either prime or composite with the exceptions of 0 and 1. Decimals, we did a bunch of those where we drew those out, so hopefully that won't be too bad. Lines, line segments, and rays. I do a quick review of those, so you might want to take a look at that. Some kids get tripped up on the differences between a line segment, and a ray. And then angles, 90, 80, 270, and 360, so those common angles that we use. If you remember, we did those in the room. We stood face north, turned 90 degrees, turned 180 degrees, turned 270, all of those. So take a look at that one. The City of Ember. Things are getting interesting. We've got Lena, we've got Dune. They are in the water. They got their boat into the river, and that's where we left off. Remember, everybody else in the City of Ember is around here at the big singing that just got done. And now Lena, Dune, and Poppy are all dropping their boat into the pipeworks. They've kind of figured out all these directions. We kind of got, we're down into here using the ropes, lower and head down stream, hopefully. And then the rest of us will kind of figure out what's going on. Remember, they were wanted for spreading vicious rumors. If you see them, report to the mayor's chief guard. So they had to flee and get out of there. So, like I said, we left off. Poppy, Dune, and Lena are all in the boat. And the boat got dropped into the water and shot forward. So, chapter 18 is Where the River Goes. So remember, they've never been in a boat, so that kind of throws things off. They had to learn what a boat was. They've never really been used in any of these cases. So they're really in something new here. So this will be interesting. For a second, Lena saw banks of the river streak by. Ahead was the opening of the tunnel, like an enormous mouth. They plunged into it and left the light of the pipeworks behind. In complete darkness, the boat pitched and rolled. Lena in the bottom of it banged from side to side, gripping Poppy with one arm and grabbing with the other hand for anything to hold on to. Doon slid into her, and she slid into the boxes. Poppy was shrieking wildly. Doon! Lena shouted, and he kept shouting back, Hold on, hold on! But she kept losing her grip on the edge of the boat and being flung sideways. She was terrified that Poppy would slam into the metal bench or be torn from her arms and be tossed into the river. The boat hit something and shuddered. It then raced on. It felt like being swallowed, this rushing through the dark, with the river roaring like 1,000 voices. Lena's legs were tangled with dunes, and Poppy's arms were so tightly around her neck that she could hardly breathe. But it was the dark that was the most terrible. Going so fast into the dark. She closed her eyes. If they were going to smash into a wall or plunge into a bottomless hole, there was nothing she could do about it. All she could do was hold tight to Poppy. She did that for what seemed like a long time. And then at last the current slowed. The boat stopped thrashing so wildly. Lena managed to sit up. She felt moving, Doon moving too. Poppy's shrieks turned to whimpers. The darkness was still complete, but Lena sensed space above her. Where were they? She had to see. Doon, she called. Are you all right? Can you find us a candle? I'll try, Doon said. She felt him scrambling past her to the back of the boat, and she heard a scrape as she pulled the box from its place under the bench. Can't find the latch, Doon said. Then a second later, There, I've got it. This must be the matches. So this one must be the candles. More scraping and banging. The boat lurched. Lena slid forward. Doon slid too, and slammed into her back. He gave a yell of rage. Drop the match. Hold on. I almost had it. Long seconds of scrambling and clattering. Then a light flared up, and Doon's shadow face appeared above it. He touched the match to the candle, and the light grew, steadier. It was only a small flame, but it cast glints of light on the tunnel walls that had a silky surface of water. The tunnel had an arched ceiling, Lena saw, like the tunnel of the pipeworks, but this was much wider than those tunnels. The river ran through it like a moving road. Can you light another? Lena asked. Doon nodded and turned back to the box, but once again the boat struck something, causing a spray of water to slap them and put the candle out. It was several minutes before Doon managed to light it again, and more before he finally had two burning at once. He jammed one of them into the space between the bench and the other side of the boat, and he held the other in his hand. His hair was flattened against his forehead, dripping. His brown jacket was torn at the shoulder. That's better, he said. It was better. Not only did they have light to see by, but the current was slower, and the boat sailed more smoothly. Lena was able to unwrap Poppy from her neck and look around. Ahead she could see that the tunnel curved, and the boat swung into the curve, banged against the wall, straightened itself, and sped on. Hand me a candle, too, she said. Doon gave Lena the candle and was holding and lit another. They found places to wedge all three candles into the frame of the boat so they could keep their hands free. For a while they rushed along almost silently, the river having become nearly as smooth as a sheet of glass. Then suddenly the current slowed even more, and the tunnel opened out. We've come into a room, said Lena. Far overhead arched of vaulted ceilings. Columns of rock hung down from it, and columns of rock rose from the water too, making long shadows that turned into and mingled as the boat floated among them. They glimmered in the candlelight, pink and pale green and silver. Their strange lumpy shapes looked like something soft that had frozen, like towers of mashed potatoes, Lena thought, that had hardened to stone. Hopefully you guys are kind of picturing these as they're going through. These might be like stalactites or stalagmites. We'll find out. Now and then the boat bumped into one of these columns, and they found that they could use a paddle to knock themselves free again. In this way they crossed the room to the other side, where again the passage narrowed and the current ran faster. Much faster. It was as if the boat were being pulled forward by by powerful hands. The water grew rough again. The splashes of spray put out their candles. Lena and Dune huddled to the bottom of the boat, with Poppy between them, their arms clasped around her. They clenched their teeth and squeezed their eyes shut, and soon there was nothing in their minds but the roll and the plunge of the boat, and nothing but in their bodies but the effort not to be thrown out. Once the sound of the river rose into a crashing, and the front of the boat tipped downward, but they were pitched about so violently that it seemed they were tumbling downstairs. But that lasted only a few seconds, and they were streaming onward as before. Lena lost track of time, but a while later, maybe a few minutes, maybe an hour, the current slowed. The candles they'd stuck in the boat had been knocked overboard, so Dune lit new ones. They saw that they had come to another pool, and there was no lumpy columns of rock here. Nothing interrupted their wide, flat surface of the water, which stretched out before them. In the flickering light from the candles, the ceiling was smooth, and only about 10 feet above their heads. The boat drifted as if it had lost its sense of direction. Using a paddle to poke against the walls, Dune guided the boat around the edge of the pool. "I don't see where the river is going on," said Dune. "Do you?" "No," said Lena. "Unless it's there, where it flows into that little gap." She pointed to a crack in the wall only a few inches wide. "But the boat can't go there." "No, it's much too small." He pulled the boat forward. Their shadows moved on along with the wall. "I want to go home," said Poppy. "We're almost there," Lena told her. "We certainly can't go back the way we came," said Dune. "No." Lena dipped her hand in the water. It was so cold that it sent an ache up her arm. "Could this be the end?" said Dune. His voice sounded flat and closed in place. "The end?" Lena felt a shiver of fear. "I mean the end of our trip," Dune said. "Maybe we're supposed to get out over there." He pointed to a wide expanse of rock that sloped back from the darkness on one side of the pool. Everywhere else the wall rose straight out of the water. He pulled the boat over to the rock slope. The boat scraped bottom here. The water was shallow. "I'll see if we can get this, if this goes anywhere," said Lena. "I want to be on solid ground anyway." She handed Poppy to Dune and stood up. Holding a candle, she put one foot over the edge of the boat and into the cold water. She waded ashore. The way did not look promising. The ground sloped upward and the ceiling sloped downward. As she fell farther back, she had to stoop. A few yards and tumbling heap of rocks blocked the way. She inched around them, turning sideways to squeeze through a narrow space, and crept forward holding the candle in front of her. "This goes nowhere," she thought. "We're trapped." But a few steps farther along, she found she could stand up straight again, and a few steps beyond that, she turned a corner, and suddenly the candlelight shone on a wide path with a high ceiling and a smooth floor. Lena gave a wild shout. "Here it is!" she cried. "It's here! There's a path!" Dune's voice came from far away. She couldn't tell what he was saying. She made her way back towards the boat, and when it came in sight, she yelled, "I found a path! A path!" Dune scrambled out and waded ashore, carrying Poppy. He set her down, and then he and Lena took hold of the boat and hauled it as far as they could get up to the slope of the rock. Poppy caught the excitement. She shouted gleefully, waving her fists like little clubs, and stomped around, glad to be on her feet again. She found a pebble and plunked it into the water, crowing happily at the splash it made. "I want to see the path," said Dune. "Go up this way," Lena told him, "and go around the pile of rocks. I'll stay here and take things out of the boat." Dune went on, taking another candle from the box in the boat. Lena sat Poppy down in a kind of nook formed by a roundish boulder in the hollow of the wall. "Don't move from here," she said, and then she pulled Dune's bundle from under the seat of the boat. It was damp, but not soaked. Maybe the food inside would still be all right. She was hungry all of a sudden. She had no dinner. She remembered it must be the middle of the night by now, or maybe even morning again. She carried Dune's bundle ashore, along with the boxes of candles and matches. As she set them down, Dune came back. His eyes were glowing, the reflection of the tiny flame dancing in each one. "That's it for sure," he said. "We've made it." Then his eyes shifted. "What's Poppy got?" he asked. Lena whipped around. In Poppy's hands was something dark and rectangular. It wasn't stone. It was more like a packet of some kind. She was plucking through and pulling at it. She lifted it to her mouth as if to tear it with her teeth, and Lena jumped to her feet. "Stop!" she shouted. Poppy, startled, dropped the packet and began to cry. "It's all right, never mind," Lena said, retrieving what Poppy had been about to chew on. "Come, have some dinner. Now, hush, we're going to have dinner. I'm sure you're hungry." In the light of Dune's candle, with Poppy squirming on Lena's lap, they examined Poppy's find. The packet was wrapped in slippery, greenish material and bound with a strap. It wasn't wrapped very well. It looked as if someone had bundled it up quickly. The material was loose and blotched with whitish mold. Lena edged the strap off carefully. It was partially rotten. On the end of the small square bundle covered with rust, she folded back the wrapping. Dune took a sharp breath. "It's a book." He said. He moved his candle closer, and Lena opened the brown cover. The pages inside had faint blue lines across them, and someone had written along these lines in slanted black letters, which were not neat like the writing in the library books, but sprawled as if the letter had been in a hurry, as if the writer had been in a hurry. Dune ran his finger under the first line. It says, "They will tell us. They tell us we leave. They tell us we leave tonight." He looked up at Lena's eyes. "Leave?" said Lena. "From where?" "From Ember?" Dune asked. "Could someone have come this way before us? Or was it someone leaving the other city?" Dune looked down at his book again. He riffed through the pages. There were many of them. "Let's save it," said Lena. "We'll read it when we get to the new city." Dune nodded. "It'll be easier to see there." So Lena wrapped up the book again and tied it securely into Dune's bundle. Then they sat on the rock shelf for a while, eating food Dune had brought. The candles wedged in their boat still shone steadily, and their light was cozy like lamplight and made golden shapes on the still surface of the pond. Dune said, "I saw the guards run after you. Tell me what happened." Lena told him. "And what about Poppy? What did you tell Miss Murdo?" "I told her the truth. At least I hope it's the truth. I caught up with her on the way home after the singing. She'd seen the posters. She was terrified. But before she could ask questions, I just said that she must give Poppy to me. I said that I was taking her to safety, because that's what I suddenly realized on the roof of the gathering hall, Dune. I'd been thinking before that I had to leave Poppy because she'd be safe with Miss Murdo. But when the lights went out, I suddenly knew there is no safety in Ember, not for long, not for anyone. I couldn't leave her behind. Whatever happens to us now, it's better than what's going to happen there." Did you explain all that to Miss Murdo?" "No. I was in a terrible hurry to get to the pipeworks and meet you, and I knew I had to go while there were still crowds in the street, so it would be harder for the guards to see me. I just said I was taking Poppy to safety. Miss Murdo handed her over, but what sort of sputtered where and why, and I said, 'You'll know in a few days. It's all right.' And then I ran." "So you gave her the note then?" said Dune. "The one meant for Clary?" "Oh," Lena stared at him, stricken. "The message to Clary." She put her hand in her pocket and pulled out the crumpled piece of paper. "I forgot all about it. All I was thinking about was getting Poppy and getting to you." "So no one knows about the room full of boats?" Lena just shook her head, her eyes wide. "How will we get back to tell them?" "We can't." "Dune," said Lena, "if we'd told people right away, even just a few people, if we hadn't decided to be grand and announce it at the singing." "I know," said Dune, "but we didn't. That's all. We didn't tell. And now no one knows. I did leave a message for my father, though." He told Lena about the pinning of the last message on the kiosk of Severton Square. "I said we'd found the way out, and that it was in the pipe works, but that's still not much help. Clary has seen the instructions, Lena said. She knows there's an egress. She might find it, or she might not. There was nothing to be done about it, and so they put their supplies back in Dune's pillowcase and got ready to go. Lena used Dune's rope to make a leash for Poppy. She tied one end around Poppy's waist and the other around her. She filled her pockets with the packs of matches, and Dune put all the remaining candles in a sack, in case they arrived in the new city at night. He filled up his bottle with river water and lit a candle for himself, and one for Lena, and thus equipped, they left the boat behind and crept up the rocky shelf to the path. Chapter 19, A World of Light. And there's a picture of me running away from Darth Vader. So, try to keep it thematic for you guys. And so that is the end of that chapter. So, we'll pick up tomorrow on the City of Ember. I hope you guys are enjoying the story. I hope you guys enjoyed Star Wars Day, May the 4th. And hope you guys have a good day. Take a look at the stuff on IXL. Take a look at the other videos that were being posted. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I hope you guys had a great weekend. I look forward to hearing from you guys. And have a great day. May the 4th be with you.